Okay, welcome to Programming Rainbow. In this video, we will continuing on our series of Beginner's Guide to SDL2 in the Odin language. So this is video number 4. If you're just starting out with this video, you want to go to github.com, Programming Rainbow, Beginner's Guide to SDL2 in Odin. You want to clone that repository, move inside of it, and you can start up NeoVim or VS Code or whatever you're using, whatever editor. But inside of it, the code in the top level is actually the code from video number 8 if you pull it from the repository. So since this is the 4th video, you can go inside this 3rd video folder here and you can just copy this code to the top level. And you'll be where we are right now, where we ended off with in the last, the 3rd video, the last video. That is the code that we are using. So let's take a look at where we ended off with. Okay, so we have this window that opens. It has a title. If you're in a floating window manager, you'll just see it up here. We can close it and it's drawing a background. So we've loaded an image, we've drawn it. In this video, we will be randomly changing the color of the background, and we will also load an icon for the window, a window icon. So we'll be doing those two things. So the very first thing I want to do is kind of change the color of so if we look at the code here, let me just go back. In our game loop, we are clearing the renderer, then we're drawing the background to the renderer, and then we're presenting the renderer. So currently when we clear the renderer, it's clearing it to black. That's what it's set to by default. But we can change the render color to a different color. So when we go to clear it, it'll actually clear to whatever color we set it to. So right now we're clearing it to black, but we can change it. So we can set render draw color. This is a standard SDL function. And what this does is it takes in the render, the pointer to render, and then it takes in 4 uint 8s. So these are numbers that can go between 0 and 255, and it's going to be the red, green, blue channel and the alpha channel. So what we want to do is we want to just change these colors to whatever we want, but we're going to leave the alpha channel maxed out. We're going to leave the alpha channel 255. But the other ones, if we wanted to do black, we could put 0, 0, 0 for them, and then 255. If we wanted white, we could say 255, 255, 255, and then for the alpha 255. And if you wanted red, you could just put 255 on the red and 0, 0. You know, those are extremes, but you can do any combination to get the colors you want. So let's use this function real quick. I'm just going to copy the C function because it's very similar in Odin to change it. And just understand that we are also in Odin using a uint 8. So I'm going to make a new procedure. Let's see, game run, maybe right above game run, I'm going to make a procedure. So right above the run procedure, I'm going to add a new procedure. I'm going to call it rand background. And it is going to take in the same G pointer to the game struct. That we've been doing every time. Right now we don't need it. We will later on, we will do this. Right now we don't need access to the game struct. So the function that we're going to use is this one, and that's the C version. So the Odin version, we're just going to drop this SDL and put the small SDL dot. And it's already given us the procedure signature. We do know we need the render. We need an R is a uint 8 for the red channel, green is a uint 8, blue is a uint 8, and then alpha is a uint 8. And it's returning something. And again, since this, I'm not going to check if this failed or not. It's not really important. It's important when I'm loading an image or I'm initializing SDL. But this, I'm just changing the color of the render. I'm going to let it, I'm just going to kind of ignore it. I'm not going to worry about what this is returning on this one. So since we do need access to the render, I was wrong again. So we do need this. we do need the game. So the very first one here is going to be G render. And let's just make up a color, okay? So let's do a blue-green, a bluish-green color. So I'm going to make red 0. And then blue I will put at, say, 200. That was green, not blue, sorry. Let's put it at 100 for green, and then blue we'll put at 200. So it's not going to be as bright as it can be. And then for the alpha channel, because I don't want this to be see-through, I don't want to be seeing the black underneath it, I'm going to set the alpha channel to 255. Okay. Now the question is how do we call this? Well, since we've already set up our event, checking of our event queue in the key presses, I can just simply add another check here, another case. So I'm just going to add a case with this space bar, and the space bar is just called space. So we don't really need to look it up. It's just like escape. It's going to be the same. So case dot space. And this one, I wanted to just call the procedure that I just made. Rand background. And we do need to pass in the address to game, which is just that, because it's already from the game run procedure, it's already a pointer to it, so it's fine. Okay, so what should happen when we run this is it's going to be black, but then when I press spacebar, it's going to change to 100% or 100 out of 255 on the green channel and 200 out of 255 on the blue channel. So it's going to be a bluish green, more heavily weighted on the blue, but it's only going to change one time. It's just going to change that color and stay that color. Okay. So let's try it and see if everything is done correctly. So I'm going to press the space bar now, and we have this blue color. If I keep pressing space, nothing happens because it's already been set. Okay. So what I really want to do is randomize these colors. So we just hard-coded or used magic numbers here. And I would actually just like it to be a random color every time. So Odin has a built-in, different built-in random number generators, and it's in the core math library. So core math and then /rand. And the one that I seems to work for the case I want, since there's no like, I want to set I want a range. I want a number between 0 and 256. Now I say 256 because it's not inclusive. So it's going to be from 0 to 255. And there's no uint 8 range. There's only an int 31 max. So this int 31 max is the procedure that we want. And we can put it from 0, and we could put 256 here. But then we're going to need to cast it to a uint 8 because it's going to be an int 32. Okay, so I'm just going to take this right here. And I'm on the package odinlang.org, and this is core math rand. And then I've already been looking through this, and this is, I want a ranged version, so this is the one that I came up with. I think there's an int31 and an int31 max. The int31 will just give you a random int number, and the int31 max will allow you to set a range. Okay, so I'm going to just put them kind of inline here. So I'm going to set these out here separately. Okay, so what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to take away this 0, and I'm going to put this procedure in. And do we, I think we just put one number in here. Let's see. 256. Oh, sorry, I have not pulled in. We need to bring this in here. So this is going to be import. And this is core math and then rand. That should be better. So our signature, we can optionally pass in a random number generator. I'm just going to let it use the default global, and it seems to work, and it seems to already be seeded for me. So I'm not an expert in Odin, but I did try this out, and it was giving me a unique number. Every time I restarted up the program, the first number would always be a different unique number. So it was working. And it's not inclusive to the last number. So I'm going to put 256. So I get a number between 0 and 255, including the 255, but not the 256. So I'm going to reformat this again because I don't like it like this. It'll probably do it for me actually automatically because the string will be too long. But I'm just going to do the exact same thing for the green and the blue channel. So I'm just going to yank this, but I'm going to leave the alpha alone. I want the alpha to always be maxed out. Okay, so what it's complaining about now is this function is returning, let's hover it again. It's returning an I32, but we need a U into 8, a U8. So what I'm going to do to get around this, I'm just going to cast this to a U8. Whoops. So I got to do it with each one of these. And hopefully that will take care of that. Yeah, so now there's no type issues going on. So each one of these needs to be a UN to 8. This 255 is like doesn't have a type until it's used because it's just a number. So it's allowed to be a UN to 8. So now every time we hit the space, we should get a random color on the random on all 3 channels. So we'll get a completely random color, hopefully every time. So I'm going to try it. So this is, I just want to see the number the very first time I hit it. And we have this kind of bright blue. I just want to remember that that's a bright blue. And then every time I hit it, I'm getting different colors. Okay, I'm going to close it and restart it just to see if I get that same color again. I did. Well, I don't know if it's the same, but it looked very close. Okay, that wasn't the same. Okay, so I'm not having a seed problem. It does. I believe Odin automatically seeds it for me. So each time I start up, I'm not getting the same. And I did try this when I was coding this out just by printing a single random number and restarting it over and over again. I never had any issue. Okay, so this is setting the background because this image is transparent, remember. So we are seeing the render when we clear the render color, which is kind of a purplish pink color here, is showing through this Odin image because that's the current render color. So the next thing we want to do is actually set a window icon. So this is going to be the icon that your operating system shows for whatever program that you're running. It could be part of the window border or it could be displayed somewhere else depending on what operating system you're using, but we can set that icon. So the way we use this function right here, set window icon, and this is going to take in a pointer to the window and then a pointer to a surface, an SDL surface, and we haven't seen a surface yet. So the last time that we loaded an image, we loaded it directly to a hardware accelerated texture, but we can actually load an image to a surface. We're going to use the image module again, and this one won't be load texture, it'll just be load. And this loads to a surface. So this is just a kind of an image in RAM. It's not set up for the GPU to use. Very old SDL, you would load images to surfaces and then convert them to textures. But there's the load texture automatically just loads it directly to a texture. But for this purpose, we actually just want it loaded as a surface. So we're going to load it as a surface. And then we are going to use this set window icon to use that surface to set the Windows icon. And then we are going to free the surface because that's another piece of memory that was allocated on the heap. through SDL and we want it to be freed, we don't need to keep it. It'll still stay on the window manager. We'll still keep the image. We can free the surface right away after we've set it. So we're going to be using these. So let's back up here and go to the very first one, this image load. And this one is just taking in a file, the string to the file, and it's returning a surface. Now, since I'm only going to use this surface one time, I'm not going to store this in the game struct. The image that we're going to be loading, we have two images here. We have a background image and then another image that we'll use later on for the sprite. But we're going to use the same image to set it as the window icon. So it's sdl.png. And it's relative path. So I'm going to say images and then sdl.png. And do you see that I'm not saving it? I'm just saving it right here. It's just going to be a local variable. But I'm going to do the same thing to make sure that it is not I'm just going to paste this real quick. Expected operand. Not sure what operand it's expecting. This is backwards, sorry. So this colon equals allows it to infer the type. Since this is giving back a specific type, this is going to be of that type without me having to explicitly say so. And I've put the colon on the wrong side of the equals. So down here, we need to check that this icon surf is not nil. So we're going to do that like this. If this function fails, or procedure in Odin, if it fails, it will return a nil pointer. So if icon surf is nil, we have this loading surface. And this is coming from image, so I'm going to change this to img. Yeah. Okay, so we have this surface loaded, and then we need to use this surface to set the window icon. So this is right here. And I just know that this is taking in a pointer to the window and a pointer to that surface. So we need the window, so that's G window, and then icon surf. Let's see, I think there is an error coming off of this. Oh no, there's no error, it's void, so we don't know if this fails or not. Okay, so that's going to set it, but then now we need to free this surface. So it's SDL free surface, and we just pass in the surface. And we know that the surface is populated because we've already checked it here for nil. So if we've passed this point, we know the surface is valid. So I don't need to check if the surface is valid again. And this is an SDL, not an image thing, to free a surface. And it's going to be icon surf. And this is going to go out of scope at the end of this procedure. So the actual icon surf variable goes out of scope, but we are making sure that we've freed the heap allocated memory associated with it. So we're loading this SDL PNG as an icon surface. We're making sure that it did load. And then we are setting the window icon to this. And then we are freeing the surface. So let's just make sure that there's no error right here, that it does run. It looks like I've messed something up here. I've spelled it wrong. Okay. And oh yeah, this is SDL, not image. Okay, there we go. So we're not going to see it because I don't have a floating window manager that shows it. I'll show it to you in a second, but I just want to make sure it's not erroring. Okay. And now I just want to mess up this right here. I'm going to spell it wrong. Okay, so we have error loading surface, couldn't open image, yes. So we do know that this surface is being loaded. We do know our check is catching whether it's messed up or not. We have no error from here to check. And this one also doesn't, freeing a surface doesn't tell us if it happened or not, but we do know at least the loading is being checked. Okay, so I'm going to walk through this code and then I'm going to create a nested window manager with KDE 6 and show you the icon. So let's just walk through it before I do that, because right now I'm in Xmonad. Let's see if I can show you. I'm in Xmonad right now, and I'm going to be creating a nested Windows session, another X Windows session inside this X Windows session that is going to be running the KDE Plasma 6, and it's not in a virtual machine. It's just going to be running in the exact same session, so it's going to mess up my system a little bit while I do it. So let's just walk through this code. So we have nothing new going on here, nothing new, anything. In initializing, we are loading this image as a surface, and we're just storing it in a local variable. We're making sure that it's not nil, because if it is nil, something went wrong. And then we are setting the window icon to that surface. We do need the pointer to the window as well. And then right after we set that, we're freeing the surface right away. And then, of course, this local variable is going out of scope immediately after this. And the other one was us changing the background color right here. This is set render draw color. We need to pass in the render. And then we are getting this random number between 0 and 255 using the int31 max from core math random. That's up here. So this is core :math / random. And we are basically using this ran.int31 max to be able to give us a max number. It's not inclusive to this number. So this is going to go between 0 and 255. And it needs to be a uint8, which is 0 to 255. So I'm just casting it to uint8. And I'm doing that for red channel, green channel, blue channel. And then alpha channel, I'm just hard coding as 255. That means it's just maxed out. There's no see-throughness. It's opaque. Okay, so that's a procedure, and we're just calling that procedure right here in space. When we press the space bar, it's going to change the render color to a random color. Okay, so I'm going to open up this other one. Let's go over here. And I'm going to use Zephyr, I think it's called. Yeah, Zephyr right here. This should work. So this is KDE Plasma 6. I'm still in the exact same system. So when I open up the code, let's say Alacrity, I'm actually in the same system with looking at the same code base. Nothing, this isn't a virtual machine or anything like that. So CD there. Now we see that we have the Alacrity icon here, and down here we have it. We're showing the Alacrity icon. So when I start this up, it's going to have the icon that we've set, and it should be the SDL logo. That's what I set it as. So right here we have it. It's very small. I don't know if you can see it, but down here, it's also showing, and if I hover it, it'll show it a little bit bigger. This is the SDL logo, and that is the icon that we loaded. We also see it says 03 background. We need to change this. This should be random colors and icon, or changing colors and icon. So we can change that too. I'm just going to close this. So up here where it says 03, this is video number 4. And icon. How about that? Now when I save it here, if I go back to my code, it's going to tell me that it's been edited somewhere else. Let's see here. No, it's not. Oh, but it's already changed up here. Okay. Sometimes it'll like give me an error message. It's been changed somewhere else and another program has changed it or something, but it actually changed right here from the Windows one. Okay. So let's run it one more time. And we do see it says 04 changing colors and icon. And we have the little icon that we loaded here. And it's showing here, like I said, depending on your Windows manager, it could be showing in different places. In Xmonad, it doesn't show at all. I see the title, but it's in a different place and there's no icon shown at all. And this still operates the exact same. Okay, so that was everything about, random colors, changing the render color, loading an icon, and freeing the memory up behind it. We didn't need to add it to our cleanup because we're freeing it right away. So we don't need to add it here. We're freeing it right after we use it right away. We're freeing it. Okay, so that's why it's like that. So that's going to be everything for this one. I hope that was educational or entertaining, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.